Welcome back to Chaos Corner. It's your old buddy, the guardian of chaos, Big Daddy, and I tell it like it is. I'll say that to say this. Live to tape, same day coverage here on a Saturday afternoon down here in the bunker with your old buddy, the G.O.C. Now, fans, we got a couple of people down here in the bunker. We are live to tape, as I said, and we're talking everything WWE Royal Rumble. We're going to cover the history of the Royal Rumble. We're going to run down tomorrow night's card. We're going to let it soak in. We're going to give you rumors, news, predictions, and only the viewpoint that the G.O.C. can give you for the IWC. You see that we got the music cranking down here with the solar energy. It doesn't get any better than that. Now, I want you to follow me on all social media platforms. Obviously, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, Rumble, Gab, and of course, Parler will be back. Now, fans, it's going to be a big weekend. Traditionally, the Royal Rumble was one of the big four for the WWE, the WWF, if you will. So you're going to want to stay tuned as we run down tomorrow night's pay-per-view. I believe it's Royal Rumble, if my notes don't fail me now. I believe we're going to be at Royal Rumble number 32. And the first Rumble was back in 1988. That's what we're going to cover here on Chaos Corner. Now, fans, if you watched show number 30, I ran down everything in pro wrestling from MLW to AEW Dynamite to NXT to Ring of Honor to Impact. And I even talked about Monday Night Raw. So on this episode, this show, if you will, and speaking of show, if you're not following my boys over at the show, and that's at Mario_Chaos, I don't know what you're doing. They're there to give you the rub. They're there to put you over. So stay with me. It's going to be an in-depth show. We're going well over an hour here on show number 31. You're not going to want to miss it. We're bouncing over to YouTube, fans. Like, subscribe, retweet, whatever it is that you do. Don't you dare miss it. Welcome back, fans. As I said just on Twitter, and I'm going to say it here on the YouTube channel, show number 31, live to tape, same day coverage. I'm hoping to get this up later on this evening so it could soak in for everyone leading into tomorrow night's Royal Rumble. So we're going to go through a lot of different history. I already told you to follow me on all social media platforms as we put out classic footage down here at the bunker. 16 feet below the surface of the earth. You see that we have the music going. We're going to go with it for as long as the solar energy goes. We're going to have a lot of faith, family, friends, as we like to say. And yeah, you almost caught me. I almost stumbled here at the beginning of show number 31. So, not that I necessarily cover Raw and SmackDown. We talked about that in show number 30, but it is the pinnacle. And with the history of the Royal Rumble, that's the most interesting part you're going to find out about today's show here at Chaos Corner. So we're going to jump right into it. Let me get this out of the way. A big shout out to my boy, Mr. Hempelstiltskin over at sweetheal.com. I say it every show. If you use the Chaos code, the promo code Chaos, you get 25% of all your CBD products. If you're not using that, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what to tell you. Just like I say about following my boys over at the show. 25%. Mr. Hempelstiltskin at sweetheal.com for all your CBD products and all your CBD needs. I don't go a day without it. I am the face of Sweet Heal. Who doesn't want to save 25%? Use the promo code Chaos. So what we're going to do, we're going to sit back. We're going to relax. It's nice to be back here in the bunker. As I said, we have a few people here on a Saturday afternoon. You know how tough it is on a Saturday afternoon. Plus, not to mention, I don't know, what is it like? 25 degrees outside with the wind chill factor was down to like single digits last night. So we're good down here in the bunker. Royal Rumble number 32, I believe, coming up. And obviously it's going to be in the Thunderdome down at the Tampa Ray Stadium. That right there, to me, is enough to really be disappointing. I have to be honest with you, with no crowd. Because last year's Royal Rumble, although I'm not crazy about the current product, I respect it, and I have to cover it for you people in the IWC. Last year's Royal Rumble was pretty damn good. I mentioned it and alluded to it on show number 30. So go back on the channel, check out show number 30, and that's why I'm back here a few days later, as I predicted and as I said, to cover Royal Rumble, because we needed a whole show to cover Royal Rumble and the history, and especially with what I'm going to cover here. So thanks for being here. And Like I said, kick back, relax. I know you're not outside. That's for sure. So you must be watching Chaos Corner. Let's see what's going on here. Last night, we know we're coming off SmackDown. I really don't want to cover it, but it is the go-to show setting up for what's going to happen tomorrow night at the Royal Rumble. So let's see what we have here for different notes and different things. You know that I'm always prepared. If you're going to put a product out there, no matter where you're doing it from, no matter how people judge you, you got to put your best foot forward and research, homework, analytics. And as long as I've been around the demo god of over 50, you're looking at him right here. So it's time to sit back, take out your notebooks, and let me take you to school, because school is in session here at the Chaos School of Professional Wrestling on Chaos Corner. SmackDown results last night. I'll quickly run through this because I want to get on to the history of the Royal Rumble and what's really important to me and like why I wanted to do this show to begin with. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Hey, 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 hey. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Hey. Well, that's what you get here. They requested it. Don't hold it against me. I gotta entertain not only you folks there on YouTube and on Instagram and on all the different platforms, but we do get a couple people in here. No copyright, because I get 30 seconds to talk over the song, and there's no copyright infringements. So that's why you can't get strikes. So it's a beautiful thing here. I've done my homework and research, but I'm gonna lower it because I'll start singing and we'll distract everybody, and we won't. We won't even get onto the Royal Rumble. You see, we're having a lot of fun. This is what it's all about. Let's get on to SmackDown last night. They opened up with Bianca Belair, and again, I'm very surprised to see this. They're giving a big push to Belair. She's an unbelievable talent. She's the future of the WWE. She could be the face of the company once it's Sasha and Bayley's time, which is right now, and Asuka. I see a huge push coming for Bianca. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. But what I was surprised that she went over on Bayley last night. She pins her with the KOD. I throw out these names because that's what they call their finishes. You know, they're just regular finishes from back in the 80s and what they learned in training camps and what these new generation learned. But Bianca Belair to go over on Bayley, you know she's headed for the sky in the WWE, because Bayley was the one who's really, along with Sasha and Asuka, has dragged that company through the pandemic and been the face of the company. They really have broken their asses and been unbelievable as far as the female talent on the roster of the WWE. So that's what came out of SmackDown last night. King Corbin, I'll give him a lot of credit. He's a big guy. The act, the King, is stale, in my opinion. It doesn't work anymore. You have to do a better job of the creative and storytelling with Corbin. That's just my opinion. And he's there with second generation grappler. He pinned Dominic Mysterio, who's going to be a future star. We know that's Ray Ray's son. He pinned him with his move, the End of Days. So I wanted to mention, because this is the go home show, I guess, so to speak, for the Rumble. Afterwards, because Ray was at the announce table now during this match, so here's the connection, here's the clue. After the match, Ray attacked Corbin. Okay, Ray hits a senton off the apron, okay, onto Corbin. Face first into the post goes Corbin. I mean, that right there, the match itself was nothing to speak of, except Dominic Mysterio is going to be a future star. He's going to be the face of the business. I see big things for Mysterio moving forward, especially under the tutelage of his dad. So he was there at the booth, and the move of the senton, again, the Lucha Libre style, the high-risk style. Mysterio was ahead of his time, long before the knee slappers of today's generation, and that move was unbelievable, the senton. So I wanted to mention that because that caught my eye on SmackDown last night. And then we have the Miz and Morrison, again, getting stale for me. Two great guys. Give Miz credit from where he come from all the way back to the MTV days, with now his stardom with the Miz and Mrs. show. And Morrison also with being married to the legendary Taya Valkyrie, who's probably one of the best female grapplers in the world. So give them a lot of credit on their success. And Morrison's been all over, but Not crazy about what's going on in the WWE and their character and gimmick, but that's another story for another time. So they're on there with Big E, Sonya Deville. They even mention all the craziness that's going on at Wall Street. And if you're down with all the trading into Wall Street and all that, I don't want to get monetized, demonetized. I'm not making any money, so I guess I can't. But all the stuff with Robinhood and GameStop, now that's another story for another time. But they even bring it into the current storylines and situations for the WWE. Hamana, hamana, hamana. Like Jackie Gleason said, hamana, hamana, hamana. And again, I'll get it out of the way early. Because I'm a one-man show, unique, unscripted, no editing, there's no button here to do any of that. Live to tape, as I said, and I just put it right out there. So you see it raw, unfiltered, mistakes and everything, and it doesn't really matter. So I'll get it out of the way now. As Bully Ray said to me a couple of times 20 years ago, and I say it every time, you get used to these lines. Give the Guardian of Chaos 8 spots and he'll fuck up 7 of them. I'm proud of that. That means that I'm working and I'm out here and I'm doing my best and getting a compliment from the Hall of Famer. It doesn't get any better than that. But on to my point, I don't want to spend too much time here on SmackDown. Braun Strowman was on last night too. They ended up attacking Big E through that Miz and Morrison. So you see what they're going to set up for there. We know that tonight on Fox Sports 1, Tamina Snuka and Natty Neidhart will be wrestling to see who's the number 30 entrant on the women's side for the Royal Rumble. That's what came out of last night. And they're also announcing Carmella and Sasha has been announced. So all the different things last night, Nakamura and Sami Zayn did an incredible vignette while Sami Zayn's filming his independent film, his screenplay, whatever the hell it is that he's doing. And the reports that I've read from around there says that the crowd popped with Sami Zayn and Nakamura vignette. How could the crowd pop? There's no crowd. It's the Thunderdome. So where are these reports coming from? That's why you go with the eye test. You could read it, you can examine it, you could research it, but then you have to have your own information and notes. And that's what you get different here in Chaos Corner and the IWC. So I just want to throw that out there. The crowd popped, the energy from the crowd, what, from a bunch of LED screens? I mean, I've been in the Dome as a trial, as an experiment to see where the fans are coming from and their perspective, but really? Really? The crowd popped? So I just want to throw that out there. And another thing that I was impressed with last night, SmackDown was okay last night. I'll give it a 5. The ending was pure chaos, and pun intended. And when we get to the ending quickly here, as we're 12 minutes in, you're going to see that the ending was based on the WWE thinking that the fans are stupid and you're not going to get it, and making it into a Royal Rumble type ending, and Raw things going crazy and, like I said, chaos and mayhem, so they could set you up and get the mindset for the fans out there that have the brain of a dehydrated BB to think and get into the excitement of the Royal Rumble. You know that, right? You fans know that, right? I know that you do, especially if you're watching this show. So I give you props and kudos there. A great promo by Roman and Kevin Owens. Now, obviously, Reigns is out there with Heyman. He's breaking down Kevin Owens. He's cutting him down. He's talking about his family. And Kevin Owens gave one of the most emotional, passionate promos he's done in quite some time. And we know where Roman Reigns is going and what's happened since Paul Heyman has taken over. And they came up with the idea to turn him heel, and it's finally working. And he has the most, the tribal chief, head of the table, whatever you want to call it. Roman Reigns is finally on top where he belongs, and it's going to be something to see what they continue to do for Roman and what's going to set up into WrestleMania for all you WWE fans out there. So go back and watch that. That wasn't too bad. You can check that out tonight. And again, we talked about Snuka and Neidhart for the match tonight to see who gets in number 30 for the women's side of the Royal Rumble. Again, on to the finish here, because it was pretty solid last night. Didn't have a lot of matches. I think there was 5 or 6 matches last night from the reports that I've gotten and from what I saw. DVR it through it. I might have missed something. I don't know. I don't usually report on SmackDown, but it's the historical preference of the Rumble is why I'm here. So the end here, the main event is Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, okay, with Omos. What a monster he is. Let's see what happens when the big man finally gets in the ring. I hope he has the skill. So they're trying to set you up here. Now, I'm okay with Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. That's an unbelievable matchup of two incredible stars that could be a main event in WrestleMania or any arena around the globe. So that right there, I'm happy and excited about. But then the ending was ridiculous. It ended up Bryan went over on a disqualification. Sammy attacks Daniel Bryan because during this whole thing, Sami Zayn's gimmick and what he's doing is he's filming during SmackDown, his private film or whatever it is. I don't know if it's a porno, if he's playing a fluffer. I don't know what's going on there with that storyline. So he attacks Sammy. It ends up being a six-man tag. Cesaro comes out and attacks Big E. Nakamura hits the ring. Sheamus is out there. Otis, of all people, I don't know why he's out there. The Miz and Morrison are attacking Big E. So you see that it's pure chaos, and you know what they're doing. They set it up into a six-way after the disqualification of AJ and Daniel Bryan. They set it up into a six-way, then an eight-way, then there's 10 guys, because they're putting you in that mindset of trying to get you ready for Royal Rumble. So... but they don't really set it up the right way, in my opinion. You do it the week of. This should have been set up for a while, but I see what they're trying to do with subliminal messaging to the fans. I mean, it's pretty simple. Those are the notes as we're on 15 minutes in here for my opening and what happened last night on SmackDown. So I want to put that aside and go on to some, before we, and fans, don't go anywhere. If this is any episode that you're going to stay for this one, because I'm going to get onto the history of the Royal Rumble and certain ones and years out of the 32 years that stand out to me. And it's going to be a wild ride on history, and I think you're going to enjoy it. Different things coming out, whether it be from JD from New York, Meltzer, Alvarez, Don Tony. There's a lot of different people out there. Jim Cornette, Wrestling with Anything But. There's a lot of people out there reporting on different things. PWI Insider, Busted Open Radio. So you put everything together with your viewership, and you come up with things that you've heard and the own ideas if you were creative. So I hope somebody's listening on the news, notes, and rumors section here. To me, and I agree with some of the other podcasters out there, and this is what I've been thinking at least for the last couple of weeks from paying attention, Daniel Bryan needs to win the Royal Rumble. And we're going to get into the participants and different people that are in it, maybe even before I get into the notes, and just before I give you my opinion of what's going to happen here. So let's quickly do that. So stand by, fans. Let me go to the card itself. Okay, because that would make sense here. Here we go. There's different things that I have. You know I have all kinds of notes here. It's good to be prepared. Here's the participants that we know of so far, because they haven't announced them all, and we are, a little more than 24 hours away from the Royal Rumble tomorrow night, and they've never really done it like this in the past, and this is where I don't agree with the creative and the storytelling, but here's the entrance for tomorrow night's Royal Rumble participants in the 30-man Battle Royal Rumble, if you will, with no crowd going and counting down. I don't know how it's going to be, fans. I'm not here to bring anybody down. I'm about positivity, but I'm also about reality. Daniel Bryan will be in the Rumble. Otis, Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Miz and Morrison, Jey Uso, Cesaro, Jeff Hardy, Dolph Ziggler, Nakamura, Big E, Mustafa Ali, Sheamus, Sami Zayn, Elias, and Edge. That's not a full 30. So there's some people out there for conjecture. People want to talk about Lesnar's going to come back or CM Punk. Lesnar, okay, maybe an outside chance of that, but CM Punk, get your heads out of your asses. CM Punk is not coming back anytime soon or ever, and certainly not to the WWE. AEW, maybe. I mean, come on, guys, with the CM Punk stuff. And then people are talking about, even on the woman's side, I don't want to get ahead of myself, talking about Ronda Rousey. I mean, I guess it's possible, but she's been training, and believe it or not, she's still under contract. She's under contract until April, the day after WrestleMania, for those people out there that are doing your homework. It's all out there for public consumption, everything that I'm talking about, if you're paying attention. Lesnar's not under contract. Okay, but Rousey's still under contract, so that's believable. But CM Punk, please. I believe Braun Strowman will be in the Rumble. Hopefully he won't win it. Rollins is going to be in the Rumble. You know that. Maybe even John Cena. And if he's not in the Rumble, I mean, he's going to be at WrestleMania. Those are the, and people even saying, well, how come there's nobody from NXT in the Rumble? I agree with that to a point. Why isn't there anyone from NXT? Because there's such great talent, and I know they're trying to keep them separate. I'm hearing as an insurance policy and different things for people that are going to be in the Rumble that there's a chance Damian Priest, you heard it here, not first, but you heard it here, breaking and trending across my timeline. Maybe Damian Priest as an insurance policy for to be brought up to the roster and maybe into the Rumble. That's what I'm hearing. On the ladies' side, and again, there's a lot of people that haven't been announced, so who knows what's going to happen. But here's what we know. The regulars for sure: Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair, Bayley, Bianca, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, Ruby Riott, Peyton Royce, Shayna Baszler, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan. So, and there's going to be a lot of other people. Listen, here's another one I want to quell and squash out there as we're 20 minutes in here. Becky Lynch isn't coming back. Not at the Rumble. It's still too early with the baby. I mean, for you marks out there, and no offended, because I guess I'm a mark in some ways too, or when I was a kid, we all love wrestling. So Becky Lynch isn't going to come back. Not at the Royal Rumble. So get that out of your head too, for all the rumors that I've heard out of there. Those are the different things that have been reported from different people. And again, I'll rely on certain sources for this. I'm just saying. I think that what's going to happen here at the Rumble with a lot of guys that are part-timers or legends or whatever it is that you want to say about guys that are active on a week-in and week-out basis, use your head. They just sold the network. We cover on channel show number 30 for Chaos Corner. They just sold it for $1 billion. Who knows what's going to happen? If you don't think they're trying to bring all the legends and names and put a legitimate product and the stamp of approval and household names so they know that NBC, Universal, and Peacock, no offense to some of my friends out there. I didn't mean it that way. I'm just saying it's a work, baby. It's a work. But if you don't think the WWE is thinking of that, to sell it to NBC Universal and Peacock for the app and for future and moving on to put a stamp on that, even though it's already sold, well, you're sadly mistaken. Do the business side and the politics and analytics of professional wrestling, and you understand what I'm talking about. So that's what we have there. As we're a little over 20 minutes in here, it flies right by. So we covered SmackDown. I really didn't want to get into it, but you have to address the issues that we're going into tomorrow night's Royal Rumble before I get onto the rumors. And we talked about all the different people that are going to be on. So let's settle down here for a second. 20 minutes in. It's show number 30, live to tape, same day coverage, talking everything WWE, SmackDown, I guess, a little bit of Raw, and especially the Royal Rumble. So stick with me on this, especially for the historical part. I got to take a little break here, please. The fans over here, well, they're not really fans. It's more family. Let me be honest. No Red Bull, but it's only one a week, so don't judge me. Tribute to Mike Francesa, little Diet Coke. You guys are well behaved today. I like that. So it's great to be back here at Chaos Corner. We're going to put on a little more solar energy before we move forward with the news, rumors, notes, and the history here. This is what we do. I told you, solar power. The bunker, 16 feet, the Wi-Fi connection, even getting people down here. You have to be in shape to climb down the mountainous cavern to get into the bunker. You know it's true, right? There's no BS here. So let me pump this up, crank it up. I still got it. You know we still got it here, right? This is the entertainment part. Again, this is why I won't cut this out. It won't be edited. It won't be scripted. This is what you get. And if you don't like it, like we always say, we can always change the channel, right? Who knows if that even works right now? A lot of people getting demonetized, getting booted, getting censored. I don't want to talk about all that stuff, but there's a lot of crazy things going on out there, and you fans know what I'm talking about on all social media platforms. So I'm going to try to... Solar energy, you're going to need it someday to get into the power grid. So let me keep it positive. And we don't want to get copyrighted. We don't want any strikes. Let's put it down here a little bit in the background. All right. A little atmosphere. Thank you guys for the suggestion. Gotta love it. So show number 31, show number 31, we're covering everything Royal Rumble. We're going to get into the history. We covered SmackDown. We went through the participants. We're talking about the card of what's actually going to happen tomorrow night. And again, You're going to want to stay here for the history that I'm going to throw at you guys because I think you're going to like it. I really think you're going to like it. As I go through and sort through my notes here, we want to make sure that you have accurate information. Besides the Royal Rumble participants, all the titles are on the line tomorrow night. The Universal title, Roman Reigns takes on Kevin Owens. It's a last man standing match. You're not going to want to miss that. And as I said from last night's SmackDown, the storyline leading into it, and Kevin Owens, this could be his best work ever, or to date for sure. I think that's kind of the same thing. And we know that Roman Reigns has stepped up his game since Heyman has jumped on board and with this whole change. And since he's come back from the pandemic, it's unbelievable. So the Universal title is on the line tomorrow night. Reigns versus Kevin Owens in a last man standing match. My prediction, Roman Reigns without a doubt. The WWE Championship is on the line as Drew McIntyre takes on Goldberg. Now listen. Don't get me started. And I know what everyone's been saying about Goldberg, calling him Oldberg, and he's selfish and he hurts people in the business. And I understand that, but he's a legend and he's coming back. And if he's used the right way, which they're not using him the right way, they're not. They're just not. Let him give the rub. I don't understand what's going on, but that's going to be it tomorrow for the championship. I expect McIntyre to win, but if they give it to Goldberg and then set up for WrestleMania with Roman and Goldberg, I don't know how happy I'm going to be about that. Unless Goldberg is there to give the rub. We saw what happened in Saudi Arabia and with The Fiend, and it's destroyed his career. I don't understand what they're doing, and I don't even like nowadays in this current business where they have two WWE champions, you have a Universal champion, and you have the WWE Championship. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't give it any credibility. It's just too many titles. It's just my opinion. I'm telling you where I'm coming from. So that one might be up in the air tomorrow night on the Rumble. Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg. And again, McIntyre has been the best pandemic champion ever. I guess he's had 2 title reigns during the pandemic, never in front of a live crowd. So I'm not sure. I just hope it's not Goldberg. Unless it's done the right way, but they're not using it creatively. We know that they're just not. The women's tag titles are on the line. Asuka, who I think is one of the best, and she's being underutilized. Asuka teams up with Charlotte Flair. Again, I don't understand that whole storyline. Somebody explain it to me. And they're going against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, and a lot of people complain about Nia Jax, and they have been for a while. If you saw the disaster on Raw and the matches and the botches on that, and I'm not here to judge anyone, I'm just telling it like it is. I don't really have a lot of interest in that, although I like watching Asuka wrestle. Also, for the IC title, and they're giving this man a big push, and that would be Big E. It's only a matter of time before he goes for the title. They want to give E the push. So tomorrow night, Big E, the champion, defends against Sami Zayn, who's one of the hardest working men in the business. I think he's a little overrated. Some people would say underrated. I expect Big E to retain the title and move on to bigger and better things. Also, for the U.S. title from the Hurt Business, and this could be a legit, real MMA fight if you ever got these two together. Bobby Lashley, the champion, defends against Matt Riddle. Bro. I mean, I really don't like the way they using Matt Riddle. He looks like a goofball. The guy's a legit badass MMA background, and I just don't understand it. And if you look at that, that's the most legit match out of the whole card. So that's what you have going on for at the Thunderdome in Tampa tomorrow for the Royal Rumble. And there's a lot of people to be announced and special things coming up. I'm not sure who the final participants are going to be, but it's shaping up on paper to be okay. Let's hope the Rumble is decent. Before we get on to the history of what's happening with the Royal Rumble, I like to separate things here. We like to stay organized. Here we go with certain things that I want to talk about before we get on to the history. And the history is going to be unbelievable. We're coming up on almost 30 minutes. Here we go. Again, I already told you my feeling. Daniel Bryan, I think, is a no-brainer to win the Rumble. Will he? Now, I don't know. It makes sense. The storyline is already there with him and Roman. I would like to see them go for the championship at WrestleMania. It just makes sense. You're going to use a 50-plus-year-old Goldberg. He's a one-trick pony right now. And again, I alluded to it earlier. It just doesn't make any sense. It makes no creative sense. And even the people that bring it in an empty arena, they have everybody on LED in the Thunderdome with yes, yes, yes. It just makes sense. It's natural if you want to save the company. Brian's not going to be around forever. And we're lucky we had him to come back. So to me, creatively and looking at it, it looks like it makes sense because there's the history between Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. I don't want to let's see. Again, if it's going to be Goldberg, who else is it going to be? Maybe Edge. Again, another guy coming off of serious injuries. He's 50 years old, re-injured. He's been inactive. I mean, is it going to be Edge? I'm not sure. Are we going to set up for Edge and McIntyre into WrestleMania for the Universal title? There's a lot of storylines, and I know I'm just throwing different things out there because I want to set it in your mind for future shows, for storylines and creative for you guys to think about because it's about psychology. And if you're not thinking about this, then you're going to be lost in the story that's being told or the lack thereof, so to speak. So pay attention when I say that, and I don't mean it disrespectfully. I mean it informatively. In my opinion, whether it even be John Cena, if they bring him back, or if they're setting him up for WrestleMania, if you use these guys the right way, like they're trying to do in AEW, not to compare the two, because it's about the Rumble on show number 31, you could use Cena the right way. What's going to happen with AJ Styles? Will Rhea Ripley show up in the Rumble? She's got to be in the Rumble, right? Am I right? Doesn't Rhea Ripley have to be in the Rumble tomorrow night, in the Women's Rumble? I know I'm jumping over, but there's different things and rumors out here and things that I want to address and throw them out there for consumption so you guys can get an idea of what potentially could happen. Maybe even Triple H. There's still some spots open, and so I'm just throwing it out there. We know that we're probably going to see, and I hope Alexa Bliss doesn't win the Rumble. I know it's trending that way because of the storyline, and you're probably going to get Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, if you will, and Orton at WrestleMania. I don't even know why Bliss is in the Rumble. These are just my own personal observations. And who is Sasha going to defend the title against? What's coming up for her? Different storylines and rumors, news notes, speculation, and innuendo that I think about, and I just randomly jot them down here to throw them out for you guys to think about. Those are the different things thinking about going into Royal Rumble and the different storylines of what could be created and who might show up. So I wanted to throw that out. We're 30 minutes in here. Live to tape, same day coverage. We're talking Royal Rumble. We're talking everything WWE. And I say that with tongue in cheek because I'm still covering this stuff. So I'm glad I was able to throw that out there. Just giving my opinion. Don't go crazy, guys. Leave a comment in the sections and we'll move on here to... First off, you know the first Royal Rumble was in 1988. We already talked about that, and I believe this is the 32nd Royal Rumble. I'm going to break down some Royal Rumble matches here that say to me the ones that I think have stood out. I've done a lot of research, a lot of homework. I know you fans have too. You could relate to a lot of this stuff, different stuff. There's been 31 Rumbles, you know that. Well, now it would be 32, but there's been 38 official winners. So just in different news and notes about the Royal Rumble. Now, in 1994, I know you fans know that. You know I'm a historian. You know I do my research, and I know Rick Del Santo, the professor from PWZ, is watching. Another great historian, along with the Cauliflower Alley Club guys, or the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, or Sheldon Goldberg, the traditional historian, the legend himself. 1994, we had dual winners. Anyone? Can anyone answer that? 1994 dual winners? Bueller? 1994, Lex Luger and Bret Hart, dual winners in 94. That's why there's more Rumble winners than actually Rumbles. Also, anyone? Because I don't have the exact date, but I know it was the early 2000s because I was still active in the business. The Rock won the Rumble, but it was overturned for some odd reason, and they ended up giving it to the Big Show, so you actually had two winners. It was The Rock overturned to the Big Show, so that counts as a winner at first before the decision was overturned. That's early 2000s, if someone, one of the trivia things and research things that I don't know about. Also in 2004, and I guess they officially count this, I wouldn't, but this is their results. It's for public consumption. It's out there, and you could research it yourself. 2004, SmackDown had a Rumble to see who would face Brock Lesnar for the title at the pay-per-view. No Way Out, another wasted pay-per-view. So they count that as part of one of the Rumble winners. I don't even know who won the 2004. It might have been The Rock who won that Rumble. But here we go. We know that the Rumble, listen, traditionally, just come in, and I'll make it about my perspective for a second. Traditionally, even when I was in the business and learning the business and a fan, and even when I was active in ring as a manager, we used to have parties and get together and have a lot of fun and get together with the boys and couples and go to the local pub or local bar or restaurant or somebody's house. And man, it was unpredictable for the fans, even the guys in the business. It was an event back then. The first Rumble and leading into the late 80s into the early 90s, long before you guys were even a gleam in your daddy's eyes. I get it. But it was its original intent after the original WrestleManias in the 80s was to be used as a lead-in, a springboard, a preamble, if you will, to WrestleMania. So whoever went over in the Rumble always got the big push and was headed for the top. So that's where it originally came from for you fans who maybe aren't my age or in my demo. I'm going to bring up a couple of different memories and ones that have stood out to me. I'll mention a lot of different things. 35 minutes here on show number 31. I appreciate everyone being here, and I hope you're staying strong. God bless America and America first. And again, don't ever change who you are, what you believe in, your religion, your culture, your color, your creed. You understand where I'm coming from. I don't want to be too political. I'm about positive energy, too much of the other BS going on, but you know that I tell it like it is and I keep it real. You know that, right? I know that you do. The bunker is, listen, there's nothing better than being down here in the bunker at Chaos Corner. So here we go with the history part. I think you fans are really going to enjoy this. We're at 36 minutes and 21 seconds. And thank you, Peanut Gallery. Wait, do I have any peanuts? Do I have any peanuts that I could throw over here? No, but I could certainly wrap everybody up here in the audience in chains, and we could put that out for the next show. So let me get back to the task at hand. This is how we're feeling right now. But here we go. Excuse me. No, as I said, no button. 1998. These are the ones that stand out. This is no chronological order, but pay attention. School is in session. 1998. Austin, Stone Cold, obviously returns from his neck injury. He was number 24 in that Rumble. Now, the final two in there, as I go through my highlights and my synopsis and my cliff notes, my footnotes, if you will, The Rock and Austin were the final two. Now, this is when The Rock was a part of the Nation of Domination. 1998, everything that I'm going to mention here, go out and check out on the network or on YouTube or different footage that you can find about this. It's unbelievable. And again, pretty soon we'll be doing watch-alongs here from the history of a lot of these shows that I have down here in the bunker that were live when I had them back in the day. And we're going to do some historic watch-alongs. It's been requested by you guys. Email me. Chaos Big Daddy, the number 2. That's right, Chaos Big Daddy, the number 2 at yahoo.com. And I will read it live here on the air and do whatever kind of show you guys want to get involved with before we start the live streaming and chats, which is coming. And you can always inbox me on all those social media platforms, as you well know. So we talked about Rock and Austin were the final two, 1998 Royal Rumble. Stone Cold hits the stunner on The Rock, threw him over the top rope, and there it goes. The Rock in one of the biggest returns in wrestling after his neck injury. Austin, one of the biggest returns in pro wrestling after Austin's neck injury. And then The Rock in 98, nowhere near what he turned out to be 20 years later. But that's a little history for you. The Stone Cold Stunner threw The Rock out, which led into Austin defeating Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. Unbelievable. And they say, and I guess I have to agree with it back then in 98, and especially with all the Monday Night Wars and what was going on with WCW, they say that the Stone Cold beating The Rock at the 98 Royal Rumble, who wasn't really technically the Rock then, the way we know him, and then defeating Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania for the title, saved Vince McMahon and the company from bankruptcy. I don't know if I believe that or you believe that. That's what's out there. I've heard that before. 2005, Batista enters the Rumble at number 28. The finals in the Royal Rumble for 2005, Batista and Cena. Now, It was more of a botch ending. That's why I remember it, with both of the men going over the top rope. Now, the Batista was supposed to win, but something happened. He couldn't hold on. It was everyone in the fans were confused. And at the gorilla position, they both hit the floor. The ref didn't even know what to do. So who comes out of nowhere from Gorilla? Vince McMahon. He rushes down to the ring, and fans, you'll remember this, go back out in 2005. He slides into the ring, and Vince tore both his quads on the spot. Vincent Kennedy McMahon tore both his quads at the 2005 Royal Rumble. He rushed in there, started the match, called a restart, and within seconds, Batista tossed out Cena, and there you go in the 2005 Royal Rumble for Batista and how McMahon tore his quads. True story, fans. These are facts. I do my research. Batista went on to win the title at WrestleMania over JBL. And go out there and research it, fans. One of the more memorable moments for Vince at Royal Rumble. 1993, Yokozuna entered at number 27. This is where they officially, for the first time, implemented the rule that the winner gets a title shot at WrestleMania. 1993 Royal Rumble, Yokozuna entered 27. Also in there, Savage, the Macho Man, came in at number 30. Bob Backlund came in at number 2 for that Rumble and was in there for an hour. 1993, Yoko eliminated Backlund. Savage hit the top rope elbow and went for a pin. And I don't know if that was part of the storyline or whatever it was, but Macho Man, the unbelievable elbow that he hits it on Yokozuna and goes for a pin. It's the Royal Rumble. Macho, God rest his soul, really? So, and I remember it like yesterday, Macho goes for the pin and Yoko bench pressed him, boom. And they were portraying Yoko to be the beast that he was. And right over the top rope goes Macho Man, and Yoko went on to win the 93 Royal Rumble. You can't make these storylines up. Yoko went on to beat Bret Hart at WrestleMania and then challenge Hogan. He won at WrestleMania. I don't want to get ahead of myself. You can remember this, fans. Yoko went on to WrestleMania, beat Bret Hart, and if you remember correctly, because all the politics that were involved, especially back then in 93, Hogan comes down. All politics involved, all was allowed to do it. He challenges Yoko on the spot, leg drop, pins him in about 30 seconds, it's over, and then Hogan leaves, and that's how the show ends in 1993. You can't make this stuff up. This is true facts, fans. Do your history. That's why I said school is in session here on Chaos Corner. Some very interesting WrestleMania moments. We head on here to 1995, where Shawn Michaels entered the Royal Rumble number 1. Now listen to the finals in here. The Bulldog also entered. The British Bulldog, Davey Smith, entered at number 2. The finals came down to Shawn Michaels, Lex Luger, Owen Hart, Bob Backlund, King Kong Bundy, and British Bulldog. So for the first time ever in the finals, where the first 2 men that started the Royal Rumble were in the finals of the Royal Rumble. 1995 history, look it up. That's what I do here at Chaos Corner. The Bulldog clotheslined Michaels and celebrated. His music hit, but guess what? Only one leg hit. If you go back and look at the footage, and again, I remember it like yesterday, HBK's second foot never hit the ground. Skin the cat, come back over while the Bulldog is distracted from behind. And from the second rope, I believe Michaels was on the second rope. And boom, out goes Bulldog. Shawn Michaels wins the Royal Rumble 1995, who goes on to win the title over his bodyguard Diesel at WrestleMania. So unbelievable in 1995 for the historical fact of they entered 1 and 2, Michaels and Davey Boy, and they were in the finals. And you notice Shawn Michaels also went on to win another Royal Rumble that was very controversial because he was a selfish prick, from what I understand back then. Just telling you what I understand. 2007, The Undertaker enters number 30. And here's another historical point of what I want to bring up, and this is what you get here in School is in Session. Open up your notebooks. Undertaker ends at number 30, and for the first time in the WWE history, the number 30, whoever entered number 30 was, wins the Royal Rumble. Write it down, fans. Check it out. Research the facts. The end was the Taker, Randy Orton, Shawn Michaels, and Edge. Orton smashes Taker with a chair and then RKO Shawn Michaels, who fell out of the ring, not over the top rope. Edge and Orton double-team the Taker. Michaels double-team the Undertaker. Michaels comes back and dumps both of them out from behind while they're distracted, and he collapses next to the Taker. Now, both the Taker and Shawn Michaels, if you remember correctly, it's not that long ago, 2007, the last year that I was active in ring. That's why I can remember it like yesterday, whether it was 88 or 07 or 2021. It seemed like forever with the two of them laying there in the middle of the canvas. Again, the product had started to change by then. Vince McMahon had monopolized the whole wrestling world. Taker sits up, usual Undertaker classic fashion. Shawn Michaels kicks up, does the double kick up like the athletic genius that he is, and unbelievable five-tool player. And then they both go at it and they really try to take each other out. But in the end, the Taker blocks the super kick, and I remember him holding this. So he blocks the super kick from Shawn Michaels, picks him up, wants to go for, I guess, a choke slam, but just picks him up and drops him over the top rope or out to the outside of the ring, and Taker wins the Rumble. So again, another historical moment in the 2007 Royal Rumble, first ever number 30 to win the Royal Rumble. He didn't have to work too hard. Taker goes on to beat Batista for the title at WrestleMania 23. That's right, write it down, 23. Unbelievable history. We move on here. We forge ahead, fans. 2003, as we're 45 minutes in here, a show number 31, same day coverage, live to tape, everything Royal Rumble. We're in the history part of what's happening for tomorrow night's show, the 32nd Royal Rumble, and your old buddy, the Guardian of Chaos. And I tell it like it is. 2003, Brock Lesnar enters number 29, the finals in that Royal Rumble in 2003. Again, not that long ago. Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker, Kane, and Batista. Now, the Taker and Lesnar lay out Kane and Batista. Lesnar hits an unbelievable F5 if you go back and look at it on Kane. Taker then versus Lesnar. They go face to face. That's what everyone was looking for at that Royal Rumble in 2003. The Taker obviously back then dominated Lesnar, and he hit Lesnar with the tombstone. And then he clotheslines Batista, and then he uses the whole brother influence in that storyline, coerces Kane into helping him out, but then turns on him and tosses Kane out too, and you could see that coming as well. Lesnar springs to his feet. This is the caveat, and this is the tradition in history, and where Brock Lesnar really started getting that huge push. Springs to his feet, obviously, and tosses the Taker out of nowhere. And really, a show of respect, the Taker gave him the nod at the end. So you got to get, that's where I believe Lesnar really started to take off. He was already a household name, but this is where he kicked it into next level. 2003 Royal Rumble. He went on to defeat Kurt Angle, who was the WWE champion at the time at WrestleMania. And if you remember the significance of that, that was the botched superstar or moonsault shooting star press that you go back and look in 2003 at WrestleMania that Lesnar attempted from the top rope, even for his physical ability, and almost landed and crashed his head and broke his neck. Unbelievable. And that's where Lesnar kicked it into second gear. It really was unbelievable. 2003, go out and check that out, and especially WrestleMania and what happened, Lesnar and Angle in that match. 1988, the first Royal Rumble, I want to talk about that. 88, the first Royal Rumble. Hacksaw Jim Duggan came in at number 13. It was actually on the USA Network. It wasn't a pay-per-view yet, and it was in Ontario, Canada. And the significance of that, not only was the first Royal Rumble on the USA Network, it wasn't a pay-per-view until the next year. Not only was it in Canada, not in the United States, also the main event for the 1988 Royal Rumble was Haku and Tama, the Islanders, against the young stallions of Jim Powers and Pretty Paul Roma, the head trainer at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, and obviously the host of Wrestling with Anything But with Avi Klein, and Maintaining the Truth on Facebook Live and on Twitch on every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're not going to want to miss it. And that's the significance of the 1998, the very first Royal Rumble. Not only did Hacksaw Jim Duggan win, not only was it not pay-per-view and it was in Canada, but Pretty Paul Roma was in the main event that night. 2 out of 3 falls against the Islanders, Haku and Tama. So how about that for history for all the locals that are watching out there? If you've made it this far, and I hope you have, bring that up to Roma. 1988, the very first Royal Rumble in the main event. That goes to show you what Paradise Alley and the Paradise 4 bring to the world of professional wrestling all these years later in the training facility and the organization and promotion that's run in the greater New Haven area in the historical, legendary WWF territory right down the road on 95 in the shadows of Titan Towers and Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Think about that. The history, the lineage, the tradition, the legacy, the honor I know you know what I'm talking about. 1989 was the second Royal Rumble, which was out of Houston, Texas. That's when it went into pay-per-view and became part of the Big Four, the Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, and obviously the third one was, wait, hold on, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, and what one am I missing? Well, how could I miss one of the Big Four? Wow. Now, wait, we got to hold on here before we get on to the second Royal Rumble. Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam, and King of the Ring. How the hell did I miss one of the original four when I was there for the birth of it? Wow, brain freeze. Listen. I get it. I'm closer to 60 than I am to 50. I understand. But you see the passion in what I bring to the table. There is nobody else like me. I'm not any better. I'm different. You see it just from the rawness of what we do here at Chaos Corner. But back onto the task at hand, the Royal Rumble. 1989, when it went to pay-per-view, became part of the Big Four, as I just said. It took place in Houston, Texas, and your 1989 winner, Big John Studd. How about that for history? So there you go, fans, with a lot of the different history that we've been running down here. I found it to be amazing through my research and going through my video library here at Chaos Chronicles and researching the actual facts. It's really been unbelievable. We have other ones here in history and notes. 1996, Shawn Michaels came in at number 18. Michaels super kicked Diesel. He went on to WrestleMania to wrestle Bret Hart for an hour to defend the title. What an unbelievable event that was. Shawn Michaels, 1996 Royal Rumble. He entered at 18. Again, I mentioned it earlier about his bodyguard Diesel, and he went on for Bret Hart. That was a classic match, an hour at WrestleMania to defend the title. So that's another one that we talked about earlier, but I wanted to bring it back up. 1992, Ric Flair wins the Royal Rumble. He comes in at number 3. Now, here's the note. Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker were stripped of the title by the president of the WWE, Jack Tunney. That's when they had that gimmick, a la like a commissioner and the president. I really enjoyed that storyline and his paper title of Jack Tunney. But that's the note for the 92 Royal Rumble. Hogan and Taker were stripped by the title, going back and forth, DQing, cheating each other out of it. So the winner of the Royal Rumble in 92 would win the title for the WWF. Now, in the end, it was Hogan, Sid, and Flair at the end of the Rumble in 92. Unbelievable. Hogan pulled Sid out with Flair dumping him over at the same time. That whole angle, and I don't like it. I didn't like it back then, where you get tossed out, and then you want to get the guy who tossed you out, so you're allowed to reach back in and pull him out, and then he gets officially eliminated when you were already eliminated. I didn't like it back in 92. I don't like it now in 2021. But that's how the ending was in 92, and that's where Flair became the Royal Rumble champion. Flair went on to lose to Randy Savage, the Macho Man, at WrestleMania in the second billing. Okay, and this is where there was a lot of heat in the politics and what Hogan was doing back then. Not only did Flair go on to lose the title at WrestleMania to Savage, but they weren't even the main event. It was second place, second fiddle, if you will, to the Hogan Psycho Sid Justice feud that was going on and storyline. And talk about politics and a slap in the face. You win the Rumble, you're in the main event for the title of the WWF, and you take second fiddle to Hogan and Sid. You see the politics back then, it's the same way now. So that was another historical Royal Rumble there in 1992. Also 2004, Chris Benoit was in the number 1 spot. He went over an hour to win the 2004 Royal Rumble. The finals were the Big Show, Yokozuna, John Cena, Chris Jericho, Kurt Angle, DVD, unbelievable DVD, RVD. Did I say DVD? You understand now what Bully Ray says. Listen to him on Busted Open Radio. RVD, Rob Van Dam, the whole effing show, kind of like how I am here. What a final group of guys in 2004. The Big Show took them all out. He threw out every one of them. Yoko, Cena, Jericho, Rob Van Dam, Angle, and Benoit barely held on and was laying in the weeds. Okay, the Show went to pick up Benoit, and ironically enough, he gripped onto him, put him in a chokehold, put him in a guillotine, choked him out, and Big Show went right over the top rope, and Benoit held on. And Benoit won the Rumble. It's unbelievable what happened there in 2004, and we know the history of Chris Benoit. He went on in a triple threat at WrestleMania following the 2004 Rumble against Triple H and Shawn Michaels. And this is where Benoit won the title, and Triple H actually tapped out. I don't know if a lot of you people remember that. Go back to the 2004 Royal Rumble, and then go back to WrestleMania and the triple threat where Triple H tapped to Benoit to win the title. Unbelievable history, fans, that we have there. I definitely wanted to throw that one out there for you guys because I figured that you would enjoy that. We come up now to we're almost ready to wind it down here. We're less than an hour. I thought this was going to be an hour and a half show. I got to be honest with you because I had so much information and research put into the Royal Rumble, especially with the history of it. And I want to break down, these are other ones that you can go out, and I'll just give you a synopsis of other Royal Rumbles. Royal Rumble. It's just like I said last time. Say that 3 times, not Royal Rumble. Tomorrow night, fans, you're not going to want to miss it. This 32nd Royal Rumble. There'll be no fans. This is historic just for that alone because of the pandemic. Who knows what's going to happen with the COVID? But leading into WrestleMania, we're going to see what Vince is going to do because in a week or so, it's the Super Bowl with Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's right. Tom Brady's on Tampa, not the New England Patriots, for his 10th Super Bowl appearance to take on Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And that will be at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. And depending on how that goes and the pandemic and the CDC and the guideline rules, and that's going to lead into what's going to happen at WrestleMania, whether there's going to be a live crowd or the amount of people or what capacity they're going to have to be in. So keep an eye on the Super Bowl coming up in 2021, and we're just a week away. Tom Brady in Tampa against Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. Although I've lost a lot of luster for the NFL, I don't like the social justice bullshit they throw out there in their ads and pushing it down people's throat. And when there is no social justice issues in the NFL, that's for damn sure. Think about it. Let's wake up and use our heads. We're not that crazy, are we? Use your head. So I've turned off by the NFL, but that game right there to see Mahomes and Brady is going to be history in itself, and it will impact and lead what's going to happen for the WWE and WrestleMania at Raymond James Stadium. So here's other Royal Rumbles I want you to go out and watch when you get a chance. I'll give you the year, who won, and maybe a little storyline of ones that stick out, and I'm covering a lot of them. 1997, Stone Cold Steve Austin won the Rumble. 2004, Eddie Guerrero. 2001, Stone Cold won again. 2019, just almost 2 years ago, Seth Rollins won. 1994, Bret the Hitman Hart. 2002 Royal Rumble, Triple H. In 2009, it was Randy Orton. In 2016 Royal Rumble, it was Triple H again. Talk about politics. It is what it is. In 2006, the smallest competitor to ever win the Rumble, Rey Mysterio. 1994, Lex Luger won the Royal Rumble. 2008, You Can't See Me, John Cena. 2018, just a few years ago, Braun Strowman. And here's a couple that really stick out from the 90s because I was back in learning the business and making my debut actually around the same time. 1990, Hulk Hogan in a Legends Battle Royal Rumble. Go out and get the 1990 Royal Rumble. Hogan enters at number 25. He had lost the title to the Ultimate Warrior at Mania after that. He was the champion, and he went over on Mr. Perfect in the finals of the Royal Rumble. That goes to show you the future that was trending for Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, before his tragic death, and why he truly was Mr. Perfect. And if you listen to anyone talk about Kurt Hennig, he had a future where he would have continued to be one of the best, if not the best. So Hogan beats Mr. Perfect in the 90 Royal Rumble, loses the title to the Ultimate Warrior at Mania. That's when it was exploding back then in the historical golden era before it started to change. And then the Hogan and Warrior even faced off in the 1990 Rumble, which made WrestleMania that much more special for the legends of the Warrior and Hulk Hogan. So go back and check out 1990 Rumble with Hogan and Warrior, and then WrestleMania, because just for its historical purposes, not great matches, not great gimmicks or personalities, but people that change the business. Also, 1991, Hogan won the Royal Rumble again. He was number 24, so he won it on back-to-back years back then. This was during the Gulf War. Okay, and I know our veterans out there, and I salute all our veterans and first responders and law enforcement and healthcare workers that are out there. But the Gulf War back then is when Vince, who always uses the current storylines and current events to his advantage, that's when Hogan was feuding with Sergeant Slaughter, who turned from G.I. Joe, Mr. USA. It was unbelievable during that premise, and not only for our soldiers and vets, and God bless you all, but for the storyline of what happened in 91. Hogan went on to beat Earthquake in the finals of the Royal Rumble, the last two standing in 94. And then he went on to defeat Sergeant Slaughter for the title at WrestleMania during the Gulf War. This is when the country was together. It was unbelievable. And I throw all this information. It's a little overload. I ramble on a little bit. I stumble, rumble, mumble, bumble, and I get it, but it's chock full of research, heart, passion, information, and facts and quotes and true history that matters in this business. And this is what I like to give back to people. This is what it's all about. And that's why I came down here for show 31 into the bunker to go through all my notes, to give you the history of Royal Rumble and tie it into the current product, because we're still relevant. I may be old school, but I still keep up with the new school because it's been my passion since, what, 1970? So, and I was introduced to it not only as a fan, but then in 1983, and then trained in 84, 85, again in 88, 89, then made my debut in 92. Officially, '07, stepped out away from the ring, and then to come back and do Chaos Corner with Bob Backlund in 2019 for PAPW, it's come full circle. So this is great. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think I'm about 95 to 99% accurate about all the information I put out here. Put a lot of work into it, and I hope you guys appreciate it and enjoy it, because I appreciate and enjoy each and every one of you. Continue to watch, spread the word. Let's get this out there. Have a lot of fun tomorrow. Get together with your family and friends. Have a lot of fun. Have a couple of adult beverages, some wings, some beers, whatever it is you want to do. Coffee, tea, a nice meal, and enjoy the Royal Rumble. Go back and research the history. Listen to it and watch to the Royal Rumble, the history tonight, and then tomorrow pre-show. And your fans aren't going to want to miss it, because there's nothing like the world of professional wrestling. And remember this. Follow me on all social media platforms. I am your old buddy, the guardian of chaos, Big Daddy, and I tell it like it is. I'll say that to say this. Here for show number 31 from Chaos Corner. Don't you dare miss it.